video on the flow that I'm using for converting a PDF from the Journal of Emerging Investigators to a Google Doc so we can use it with InsertLearning. All right, so we're going to start off with, here's our original PDF. I'm going to go ahead and download this. So I'm just going to save this onto my computer. Now, what I did discover is that when we convert this to a Google Doc using Google's embedded conversion tool, it loses all of the images, which for a lot of our articles or papers we're looking at, that's kind of a big deal breaker. So one solution that I found that worked out really well is using cloudconvert.com. And if we convert it to a Word document and then upload that Word document, that works out really well. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this one. So I've uploaded the PDF to here. Now I'm going to select that I want to turn it into a Word doc. Go ahead and start the conversion. Goes pretty quick. And then that Word doc I'll download and then upload to my Google Drive then as well. And you can batch do these. So if you did have a lot of PDFs, you could just select all of them and then have it convert all of them. But, all right, so I'm going to download that. And then over in Google Drive, I'm now going to go ahead and upload that Word document that I just downloaded. And there we go. This is that second one. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and upload that. And this one we can just double click and open directly into Google Docs once it finishes downloading. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to open that up. Oh, whoops. All right, I got to do open with Google. Hold on here. So I'm going to right click on that and then open with Google Docs. Going slow here. I'm going to right click it, open with Google Docs. Some of the text formatting is a little bit funky. It's really good. Mostly it's just kind of like large gaps related to the images, I think. But all of the images are going to be there. And even the coloring and even the columns stays intact. So that's really fantastic, I think. And just because of the text size and some of those other things, that's where it gets a little bit weird. So like there's this big gap here because there's an image after this. And so we can figure that out, right? So then we could go through and we can kind of delete some of these gaps. But I'm going to let this finish loading. And then what you can do is you can actually just load the InsertLearning extension directly on top of the Google Doc and just follow the prompts that will have you then publish it. And you can always come back to the Google Doc and then make changes there after you've started your InsertLearning lesson. Even if you're like editing the text or kind of changing some of the paragraphs, InsertLearning will still do a fairly good job of knowing what you're trying to do. Obviously, if you attach a paragraph or a highlight or a question or highlights to something, you delete that text, then that won't show up. All right, so here's then of where we can just click on Publish and Make a Lesson. So while we're doing this, a published Google Doc is connected with the original one, but it's treating it very much like a web page. So now I'm going to go through, and we've got a lot of prompts to kind of customize, make it as easy as possible. So we're sure we want to publish it. Just click on yes. And so this is the Google Doc. Any changes you make to the original Google Doc will show up on here. Sometimes there's a 5-minute delay, but they're all going to show up. And then what's nice is that now that whole editing toolbar is not going to show up. I'm just going to dismiss that. Now you'll notice one thing is that I did get rid of the columns. So now the text is just simply one after the other, which I think is fine. And then as we're scrolling through, some of those gaps still show up, but our images are all still here, which is exactly what we were hoping for. So those all show up in there. I compared them and it looked like they did pretty well. There's a few more minor things like, the superscript here is kind of large, probably compared to what it was supposed to be, but we still have a lot of these different things, and all the footnotes are down at the bottom. And now we can start using insert learning directly on there. And with this, we can go through and then kind of select like we want better questions and things like that. So then you would just treat this the same way you would any insert learning lesson. Hope that helps.